we had it presented at the board facilities meeting for approval, and it just got approved this week. So we're moving forward with that. Probably won't install until like next summer, but it'll at least offer an outdoor space for us to have classes, and for the personal people in the fitness certificate program to, you can get trained on how to do classes on that outdoor fitness court. It's the same fitness court that's in the Marina Green down in San Francisco, and they have fitness courts in all different types of parks and universities and colleges across the United States. It's the same model.
That's rad, Tara. Congrats.
Yeah, excited. Yeah.
I have a big announcement. It's Dr. Okubo's birthday. So I just want everyone to know.
Yay, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Monica.
Happy birthday.
21.
Happy birthday, Monica.
Shots.
All right. Any other announcements or questions before we get rolling here? Okay, just a couple of reminders. You guys, before we get going, I have one last reminder that the official ask for spring schedule went out. And, in regards to spring schedule, if you're hoping for growth in your class schedule, that's not going to happen most likely. If anything, we will be probably less a couple of sections here and there in the spring schedule this year from last year. So we're going to be creative. We're going to do what we said and allow people to go one by one and make sure we have everybody's schedule correct. And so we're looking at efficiency, and I know that's going to come up later in the meeting. So I'm not going to talk too much about that, but please reply to the ask that went out this morning. You should have gotten it from Rose maybe in the last 10 minutes or so. That being said, let's go ahead and move on into our agenda. And would like to remind everybody that we are recording the meeting. And if at any time you would like me to stop recording because we're talking about something that is either confidential or personal, be happy to do that. I'd also like to remind everybody that this is a safe place to express opinions, express yourself, and that we shouldn't be judgmental in anybody's comments or questions or whatever. So we want to encourage involvement and inclusion, and so if you have different opinions than everybody else, then that's probably normal. We all have different opinions. So let's respect each other's opinions and make this a productive meeting. Good to see all of you. Welcome back to the fall. We're still in the midst of crazy times for all of us, and just appreciate all of you guys very much. So Matt, you are first up on the list here with the dean's report, and so please enlighten us.
I don't know about that. But anyways, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Maya, and I think Madison, if Madison's here, but great to see all of you. And on this lovely Friday morning, you know what? I have a lot to add, but I don't want to step on anybody's toes with the agenda items and things like that. So I'll give kind of a brief update, and then be around for whatever you all need. But as you know, it's been a lot of work to get up and running, to get everybody back on campus, or as much as we can in our area back on campus. We ended up getting quite a few classes on campus. I would say maybe half of our stuff is on campus. We ended up cutting some sections, but we also are pushing the boundaries a little bit and letting a lot of sections run low, just to make sure that we have opportunities for students. So I'm super happy with the way that things are going. It's been a big lift by the school, and it's been a big lift by our faculty to get it back. It hasn't been perfect. So like we always said over the last year, the next time we have a pandemic, we're going to have a nice big book to follow. But we're trying to work hard and figure out day to day. And Rose is doing a great job working from home, and also coming to the office, and Justin and John are here. So if you guys do need anything, Justin, John, and I are here every day, and to support you guys in your class or whatever you need. So we want to continue to make sure that we do a great job this fall semester, because I think we want to continue to bring our classes back. And word of mouth is big that things are safe, and word of mouth is big that things are clean, and word of mouth is big that we're back. So the more that we could push classes that we're going to be back in the spring and make sure that our fall classes go well, that it's better for our enrollment. So that being said, thank you guys for all your hard work in getting us back on campus and doing right by our students. So we do have some ground to make up in as far as enrollment. So Lenny is working on the spring schedule to try and maximize our enrollment. We also have sent out some information yesterday. I fully believe that this district is going to be moving towards a efficiency-based enrollment model. So we're trying to get out and be proactive about it. So we put together a little committee to look at our CAD efficiency as far as classes. I've been advocating for a while now to allow the deans to have some flexibility on letting some low enrolled classes go, as opposed to trying to cut everything that's below 22. So with the idea that our overall efficiency for the department is high, because we obviously have classes that are enrolled higher and our efficiency numbers are higher on that side. So that's kind of where we want to go, at least where I want to go as a district. And I think it's going to come there. And the good thing about it is if we could get out front of this and handle the numbers in CAD and keep our efficiency at like a 17.5 or higher, we're going to have the ability to grow as a department and not just roll things over. So on the backside, though, if we continue to not get our student enrollment up and we continue and we don't get our efficiency numbers better in some of our areas, then they're going to be taking some FTEF away from our area. So we want to make sure that we're out in front of this and doing a good job with what that looks like. So I sent out a bunch of information to some folks, and I think Rose is going to do a doodle poll today, and we're going to start having kind of an enrollment management team get together and try and look at what our curriculum look like, what our scheduling looks like, and we're hoping to produce a schedule that will give us a higher efficiency for the spring by time that Proof 2 goes out. Yeah, Lenny.
I just have a question about the targets that the deans are given for the spring semester.
Yeah.
Are they based on a normal spring, or are we in this COVID? Because if you look at, our spring 20 schedule or our 21 schedule, you could make the case that, we could have 2 less body conditionings. We could have 1 less, Kines 53. We could have 1 less K team 4.1 basketball. We could have, that's really easy to identify, but it's really a schedule that is abnormal for us. And so I don't know, going forward scheduling wise, what are the thoughts from the deans about, what schedule we should be looking at or trying to, create?
Well, so good question. And it's been a little confusing because we've bounced back and forth when rolling the schedule about, hey, let's start with the 2018-19 numbers before this COVID stuff happened and start going through there. So I will tell you this, that we have, based upon what we put out last year, we have, so we're scheduling spring, summer, and fall, that cycle right now. All right. So the 22 cycle, we have basically 10 FTEF more than what we scheduled last year for the 21 cycle. Okay. So we are basically rolled back, and we have the same FTEF we had from a couple of years ago before COVID hit. So that's our starting point. So the proof that you got is actually going to have a little bit more FTEF, FTEF in there. So, but we are looking at trying to get our full schedule on the books. And then I think they're going to be a little bit harder when my assumption is this mandate vax comes back into play after the board meeting. I think the assumption is that they're going to be a little bit harder line on letting low enrolled classes go. So they're giving us a bunch of FTEF back. That make sense?
Yeah, a little bit. Which brings up another question. At DCC the other day, it was brought up that the 22 number for the you have to have 22 people enrolled in your class for your class to go. That topic came up, and Stanley, maybe you could help me out here, but I don't think that was something that was ever fully negotiated with AFA, and most departments are not holding their faculty to that. And I know that we have made exceptions on some classes as well, but I just wanted to get some clarification for spring schedule. If we're going to have an 18-19 allotment, what is the target, and are we still considered in a pandemic mode here where they've limited the number of seats in classrooms, but then they're going to raise the limit for a class to go? You know what I mean? Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what I think I know. And obviously things could adjust. I think some final decisions on some scheduling guidelines are going to wait until after the recall vote on the 14th. Where that I honestly think that could happen. I think that Jane and the cabinet believe that if Gavin survives the recall stuff, he might put in some stricter like masking guidelines and certain things like that. As of right now, how it stands is there is no more social distancing. So classes in the spring are pretty much going to go back to room capacity. So if your room capacity is a 30, that's going to be what your class max is for that room. You know what I mean? So I think things are we should look at things being scheduled normal. But as far as the 22, I think that is in the contract as a guide, like the district has the right to reduce classes below 22, I think, but you're right. I don't think everybody's holding to it. And we haven't been holding to it since the pandemic started. We're striving for it, but you can look through our schedule right now. And I think if a class got to 15 at any one point, I think I let it go. So I think we're still in this mode of, we're not really sure what the pandemic's going to bring. And we're not really sure what's going to happen after the 14th, if that's going to have any influence on what we do as an organization, open up or not. So, and I think that there's going to be a very good board meeting coming up where hopefully there's a lot of faculty that speak up and people in the community that speak up and want us to get, some vaccines and mandate and get us back to some sort of opening to where most people are back on campus. So I think it's a little bit early right now to put a hardcore schedule together, but definitely a proof one is good and to get everybody's asks and all that stuff. And I think in the next week to week and a half, we're going to know a lot more on what we're going to do.
And I'm sorry to keep asking questions, you guys. If
That's all right.
someone else has a question, please you go ahead and cut me off. But so is the goal from the administration's perspective is that we wouldn't need people checking people into buildings in the spring. We wouldn't need, it's normal.
Well, I think it's going to depend on what they do with the vaccine, right? If they say you have to be vaccinated to come back to campus, then we're not going to be checking anybody in, and not have to track anybody. I think where they are, the latest I've heard is they're trying to talk with the district lawyers about what does the exceptions look like. So if we mandate this vaccine for all employees, staff, and students, what are the exceptions look like? What's the medical exception, and how does that get processed out? And is there a religious exception for the vaccine, and how does that get processed out? So I think that is going to be part of the information that you'll probably get on Tuesday at the board meeting. But everything's up in the air as of right now. It could change with the board meeting. It could change with the political, the political pandemic, as you're looking at what's going on in California. But it's pretty early. But for us, I think just like we did in the fall, we try to schedule back to normal and push us in the right direction we want to go, and do that. So that's just my opinion. But obviously, it's your guys' schedule, and we can do what you want. But if I had to guess right now, sitting here on September 10th, that my guess is we're going to have some sort of mandate vaccine to be back on campus in the spring, and we're going to push to be normal.
Thank you, Matt. So I won't interrupt your report anymore.
No, that's all right. Those are great questions. And just like everything else for the last year and a half, it's like, I could say it today and it could be different tomorrow, or, things could change. So I know we're all just trying to live moment to moment and figure this out.
I have a question really quick. Sorry. to interrupt. Are you gonna address hiring committees and our staffing committee and what that process looks like for this year? And do we have some options? Because I heard there's some ratios that might actually help us.
Yeah, I didn't get any of the detail. I haven't gotten any of the details from cabinet or from Jane on what it looks like. I've heard rumors, just like you, that we're looking at possibly hiring 19 full-timers and stuff like that. Monica would probably know way more than me on that, but I haven't got any direct information from Jane on that.
Yeah, Jane hasn't met with the district faculty staffing committee yet, but it's what we think is going to happen is they promised well, they didn't promise, but if they went with what they always do, it's all retirements +1 plus 19. So if you think if we had a normal-ish retirement year, which we might, that's just my guess, I'm not sure, there might be that group of whatever, 5 to who knows what, +1 plus the 19. So it could go in our favor. So I think that, yeah, that's a good idea to get, probably get that committee together to say, okay, does this all look good, and send you guys an email. Does anyone have anything to add, just so we can get Matt the recommendation? Because I think he presents like the end of October.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Are you the chair of our committee, Monica? Yeah, sure, you are. I think you are. But we should definitely do that. I think we need to get him that information so he can move if that looks like it's opening up.
I think I already have it, right, Lenny?
Yeah, I mean, we
already
went
got
through
it.
that whole process in the spring, and so it would, I mean, we could go through it again, but our normal routine is that we go through that process, we forward a list, Matt has that list. Now, we were able to hire a couple of positions in the summer, but you would just continue on that list until we go through the cycle again, the way I see it. I don't know, maybe there's different feelings from other people on that committee.
Maybe I don't remember, but I don't think I ever saw, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I ever saw the results of what the faculty voted. I know that Matt doesn't necessarily go with the results straight up from the faculty. He takes all these things into consideration, but I don't remember getting those votes and then our committee getting back together and then giving him a recommendation and then giving that to, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think we did most of it, but then the other part of our process too is like things change over the summer with pandemics or whatever. And so we're supposed to get together anyway. So I think we're like kind of mostly on track, and then we just need to get together. And so we could do that and then just see, because part of our process is you're supposed to check in like August, early September to see if anything changed, or, or with this new news, do we want to put 3 forward? What do we think about, because other departments might be doing the same thing too. But yeah, putting
I think
forward
we should just touch base and get everything organized, let the whole department know, and then give it to Matt.
Yeah, I'll send something out. And if anyone has anything new that changed or whatever, send it in. You can send it in to me or Lenny.
I mean, I know we did the vote and we had a list. And so it would be just a matter of sending that to Matt. You probably have all the results were sent to you. So somewhere in there, and I'll dig through my emails as well, but we did the process. And
I feel like I remember doing the process, but I don't ever remember results coming out, and I don't remember our committee getting back together and saying this is our recommendation and then handing it over to Matt. But
Yeah,
maybe I blacked out.
You might be right on. I might not have ever sent the results out. I'll have to go back and look, but I know I put some stuff in the PRPP, so I will send the results out today and to you guys, and tell you what I put in the PRPP, and then if you want to make changes or recommendations, just let me know.
And that vote we took in the spring was for this coming year?
Right, correct.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. That brings up something else I wanted to touch base with. As the whole thing with enrollment and working with Lenny on the schedule and stuff like that, we've added 3 full-timers over the last year or so. And hopefully you're going to add a couple more. That being said, there's going to have to be some sort of process that we reinstitutionalize as in the way that we schedule. I mean, I took a rough look at it while I was putting together some of the enrollment management stuff, but since I've been here, we've pretty much lost like almost 9 FTF in 6 years. So the idea of just telling me what you want to teach and put it in there and you get whatever you want whenever you want it is probably needs to be looked at again. And we need to go through how we schedule and make sure that we're following the contract and make sure that everybody's getting their load and things like that. So I know Lenny and I have talked about putting out a blank schedule and going through a seniority list and right of assignment list and make sure that people start at the top when we come in and make sure everybody has the right load, because it's getting to the point now too where we just have to make sure that we are following the contract and that there's not going to be I'll be honest, there's not going to be enough load for everybody that's been teaching here when you start at the bottom of the adjuncts and work all the way back and all the new full-timers. So everybody's not going to get what they want. So basically we need to make sure that we are getting people what they rightfully deserve and at least the offer. So does that make sense? So that's kind of where we really need to go. And then the other thing too is why I think this enrollment management thing is going to be really good is because, like I said, two things. It gives an opportunity to grow, and we always want to grow in our area. And so we can get more FTEF. But also I want to look at what does our curriculum look like? How can we make sure that that's up to date? And then also I also want to look at, does the committee believe that we should hold back a little bit of FTEF from the scheduling thing and keep it in a pot for where if all of a sudden we get a couple, we need more spaces in yoga, we could add a class, or we need more spaces in dance, we could add a class. So I want the committee to look at that as well and see if there's ability to hold some of that back.
So Matt, just a question for you or something
Yeah.
to consider when you're having conversations about this stuff is where is our starting point going to be? Is it going to be 2018-19? Is it going to be 21? Because obviously that makes a huge difference in terms of our efficiency. So if you go, with what we have, what we're currently teaching right now, okay, with those numbers, and then you try to justify the schedule from 18-19.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we need to know where our starting point is for this enrollment management, because it could take years to grow if we go with the wrong starting point.
Totally. And I think the thing to look at is at least the way that my mind works is we look with the end in mind. We want an efficiency number of roughly about 17.5. Okay. And then we start factoring in, all right, how do we get to that number? And we start looking at, all right, what's the minimum number to get to 17.5 for a lab class, 100% lab class? What's the minimum number to get to 17.5 for a lecture class? What's the minimum number to get to 17.5 for a lecture lab split, 75%, lecture or 0.75 lecture and a 2.25 lab. So anyways, just kind of those numbers. And then obviously having your targets, and I haven't given you the target yet. I'll do that, Len. Today I'll share with you the target. The target that I'll give you is basically a year target. So we could move our FTEF anywhere in the 22 year. So if you want to schedule more in the fall and less in the spring or whatever you want to do, we can move that around. So we're working to be more flexible there too. But I definitely have just got the target the other day, and I'll give it to you. Any other questions on that piece? Okay. So next is the bond stuff. As you can tell, driving around, the bond stuff, I think is going good. The pool's slowed down a little bit, but we're still making strides there, making some important decisions there. The building's flying along and out on the track and field out there at Bailey. Obviously baseball and softball going in, and I think we're picking grass today for soccer. So anyway, I think everything's going well. We're still on track for baseball, soccer, and softball to open up at the end of December. And then the pool still on track for March, the building on track for March. And I believe the bleachers and the press box are on track for the 18th, hopefully, of September. So that's the latest update on the outdoor stuff. Yeah, Len.
I saw some movement at the dorms site. Is that project back in action?
Yeah, that project's in action. They just met with their construction folks a couple weeks ago, and they started basically leveling the property and, you know, doing all the subgrade stuff and all those construction terms. I don't know, but yeah, they started working on that. So that's a 2-year build. So that's
Cool.
exciting. Yeah. What else? Oh, so the question that we want to discuss a little bit today is the Towser project. As you recall, we were planning on moving in the summer of 22. So anybody that was in Towser was going to move to the Anley Village in the summer of 22. But we're a little bit delayed on that. So we did a lot of work, they did a lot of work looking at the building, and there's more, obviously being a heritage building, there's more issues with the building, the structure of the building than was anticipated. So they had to bring some more stuff to DSA to get approval. So it's got pushed back a little bit. So our decision is, do we want to move in the summer of 22 for Towser, or we want to hang out for one more semester in Towser and then move over break, which will be a 2-week move. That's something that we need to think about, and you guys need to let me know, the people that are in Towser. Now, obviously football and track, you'll all be out of Towser, but you know, dance and wrestling and the training room and the weight room and stuff like that, we could spend one more semester in our area and kind of still use Anley Village in the fall to move stuff that are kind of storage space, and then over the break we could move everything into Anley Village, and then spring of 23 start our classes down there. Or we could stick with our plan to move in the summer of 22 and start our classes there in the fall. So you guys have any desire either way on that?
Matt, and then the end date for Towser Build to move back into Towser is scheduled for what now?
It was going to be fall of 24, I believe, but I think it'll probably be another semester later than that.
Okay. Being in Annalee Village with adaptive PE, I would recommend we stay in Towser as long as we can before we move over to the cramped areas in Annalee. So that's just my ticket.
Okay. I know Monica wants that. I know Justin and John are talking about that with the equipment room. I know the weight room is going to be worse in Anley Village. It's going to be really just one trailer. So, all right. So I think that what we'll do is I'll talk to Heather, unless someone speaks up. We'll not move till Christmas break of 22. So December of 22, that Christmas break, we'll do the final move, but we'll also have the trailers ready to go if people want to move stuff down during the fall semester. So we're not moving everything. Okay. And thanks, Cassandra. Dance will stay in Towser as long as possible. So cool. That's it for me on the Dean's report, but I said there's a bunch of other stuff on the agenda I know that I want to weigh in on, or be here if you have questions or things like that. So I'm here if you have questions, but thank you guys.
Thanks, Matt. Okay. Next up is my report here, and some of these things we've already talked about. So spring schedule, we've already talked about. The ask was sent out. Please get back to me. We're working on the schedules right now. Adjunct and full-time and tenure evaluations. Many of you guys are up for evaluation or are going to be asked to evaluate somebody. Jill is in charge of the evaluations. So information that you guys need to send, like self-evaluations or self-assessments and different parts of the evaluation, should go to Jill. And please, you guys, be prompt with that, with the timelines. You know, it's really easy to forget about an evaluation, and all of a sudden it's in the last week of the semester and you haven't done your observation yet. I know I'm guilty. I've been guilty of that. So let's really try to stay on track. We've over the years been really good at getting all of our stuff in on time, but there was always that last minute anxiety from, I know myself, and I'm sure Jill feels it too, when you're trying to track people down for a signature or something like that. So please just do your best to get those in a timely manner. Next up, we have SLOs and SLO assessments. And so you guys, you know, a couple of years ago, we did a lot of work, maybe a few years ago, we did a lot of work on our SLO assessments. And for those of you that don't know what those are we have assessments for our students, you know, for every class that are unique to that class. And the SLO, student learning outcome assessments, are a way to measure if we're meeting those goals. And so it's to assess the outcomes of the students. And the process of submitting a SLO assessment is a very easy process that takes very little computer knowledge to do. And so we've kind of had that on the back burner the last few years due to other other pressing issues that have kind of taken priority over that. But it's time to get back on track with that. And so we have a couple of coordinators that are going to be helping us with that. And the plan is, and I'm going to let them maybe talk a little bit about it too, but the plan that I see moving forward is that we're going to, we usually have our curriculum workshop as one of the first department meetings of the semester. And because we have some new faculty, because we have a lot of things still up in the air, we've moved that to the second department meeting of this semester. So our next department meeting will be our curriculum review. And I'm going to try to get out way ahead of that and get curriculum out to the people that I know are the reviewers of those. So maybe just a short portion of that meeting can be curriculum review, but then also try to get out in front of the SLO assessments. And so that we could spend, some could get done between now and the next department meeting. But then at the department meeting, we could really hammer out a whole bunch as a group on a Zoom meeting with everybody logged in. So SLO and SLO assessments, we're going to be getting a lot of help from Stanley and Coach Dante DePaulo, otherwise known as Gitano on Zoom. So if you guys want to maybe throw a couple words in there about that.
Sure. I'll can you guys hear me? Get thumbs up. Yeah, revisiting this is going to be a refresher for all of us, including myself. Took some time off from it. We kicked butt. I was a part of the committee on the SLOs assessment committee a couple years ago, and obviously with all the stuff that's gone on the last couple of years, things have got pushed on the back burner with it. But one great thing that happened in that process is KAD once again stepped up and put themselves as a leader in that assessment progress. We went from, I think, being maybe 10% of total goal to, I can't remember, but maybe Wags remembers, but I think it jumped to 50% within that week that we all jumped on it, and kind of left. It really kind of set the benchmark and made some people within the district happy, and also I think made progress for us as a group. The SLO assessment and SLOs are it's good practice, right? It's good teaching. It's good awareness for our programs. I think I'd be much the same. That it's something that's not constantly made. We don't constantly make ourselves aware of what they are. They're kind of shelved after they're established. So revisiting them is an important part of progress as a staff and as a teacher to have good practice, right? So Stanley and myself will refresh. We have to meet, and we'll get ourselves up to par with what's happening. And hopefully we can make the process pretty painless in us getting together, having some really simple points that we can all attack these and make it so it's not a barrage of frustration and kind of technical struggle. So we'll be ready to go and looking forward to getting that progress done. But it should be, I know Lenny himself did a whole bunch of them, and it's just kind of a rhythm you get in, just like our reevaluations of our classes, right? So appreciate all your support in that, and we'll jump on it.
Question for you, Dante and Stanley. You may, this is kind of a new project that we're starting off again, so you may or may not know, but this is just a curious question. Like, our math students, 80% of our math students fail. What do their SLO assessments look like? And does somebody ever say, like, hey, 80% of your students are failing. What changes have you made or modifications to the way you teach? Does anybody ever call them out?
Well, it's funny in just referencing our meetings when I was in that, they're a group and I don't want to misquote it, but they're a group that I think there's been pushback on the slows, right? As whether or not they have to stay on top of that progress, right? So in the meeting, in the monthly meetings that we did have at the time, the big push was whether or not it was contractual and whether or not we were contractually bound to actually doing the assessments and whether they were optional. So I'm not sure at this point where that's gone with our union and all that. So I can't speak on it currently, but just at the time, that was some of the pushback. And I do know that math was a little bit part of that, just because of, I think, the issues of, trust and respect and, all those kind of keywords that come up when it comes to whether or not we're doing our jobs, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Dante. I see Cassandra's got her hand up.
Good morning, everybody. The review of SLOs is not contractually mandated, but it can be done as college service and used as college service. And I agree with Dante, it's just a good practice for instructors as well.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Also, just so you guys know, it's going to be a real, we're doing, I don't know if good is the right word, but we're at about 45% of our SLOs are 44%. There are some of our areas like K-Aqua that is really low. I think Adaptive P is like 7% done. So I know like personal training stuff, we identified that as we're going to work on some SLOs for that. And we also want to maybe look at some of our program SLOs as well. But so you do know it is going to be an emphasis of the district to try and work on the SLOs this semester before the accreditation team comes. The way we stand right now, we might be okay at 44, 45%, but some of the district other areas, clusters are not. So we are worried that we're going to get dinged if we don't see a significant improvement by the district in SLOs. So anything that we could do our part before the accreditation team comes would be really, really helpful.
That accreditation is 2022, right? Is that right?
I believe it's in the spring, the team's coming.
Yep.
I mean, if we look at our progress in the last time we did this, and it was like a 2-week push,
Yeah,
we went up almost 40%. If we could just do the same thing, we would be so dialed in and so ahead of everybody else. I mean, that, believe it or not, it seems like a kind of a minor thing maybe on your scale of what's major and minor, but when Matt has to go in and ask for things, and whether it's contractual or not, if it's something that he was asked to ask us to do, like all the other deans, it really helps when it's done. And he can say, okay, we're at a dean's meeting. Who's got progress on their SLO assessments? And Matt can go, oh, ours went up 45%. Stanley and Dante organized a committee and we kicked ass and boom. That helps so much. Believe me. So all those little things that we have to do, getting our census rosters in on time, getting our grades in on time. Those are all emails that go to Matt. Hey, you've got faculty that haven't done this. Hey, you've got faculty that haven't done this. And those make an impression. And so when the VPs see those emails, even whether they read them or not, but they see the same things happening, or they see progress, or they see good things happening, it helps tremendously for the asks. And we have lots of things that we're asking for on an annual basis. So please do your part on that, everybody. And we appreciate it.
Yeah, and I want to second that. I can't, thanks for that, Lenny. I can't emphasize that enough, what Lenny just said. It plays a huge role. And the truth is, this cluster has always made my job easy because it's always, hey, KAD has got all their SLOs in. KAD's 100% up to date on curriculum. KAD has got all their census grades in and rosters in. By the way, we have about 30 census sections that are due today. It will be late tomorrow. So check your portals. Your census are due today if they started on time. So anyways, that being said, I can't emphasize that enough. You guys make it easy on me to get in the room because everybody always says, hey, KAD does this and KAD does this. And it's, it's just because you guys are great. So keep it up. I agree with that. But you're right. It helps when I can sit there and across the table and go, hey, I need this. And by the way, everything you've done we've done and we haven't caused any issues or whatever.
Okay, last thing on my report, because we kind of already touched on curriculum. Well, the one thing I didn't touch on curriculum is that we're always looking for new ideas too. So if you guys have new ideas for classes, the curriculum process of writing a new course, it is a process, but it's something that's absolutely doable. And if you see, you know, we've had conversations about body conditioning and changing the name of that to something that's more current, or maybe even have different kinds of body conditioning with more current names. So if you have ideas and things like that, please let me know, and we'll start working on them, and I'll help in any way that I can. I would like to send a huge shout out to all the people sharing facilities this semester and the ones from the summer. We've had, as far as I know, you guys have all, and we have all worked out the issues and have made it work, and much appreciated. I mean, when you go out to Bailey at, 3:30, you've got women's basketball, you've got track and field, cross country, you've got football warming up, and you've got Allie's Pilates class rolling in. There's like 4 different types of music going on in different spots of the stadium, and everybody's rolling, and it's really cool, and it's a great environment. You guys ever come out there about 4 o'clock, it's like just people working out everywhere. It's really, really awesome, with music blaring, and just really good atmosphere. So thank you to all the people that I've been sharing with. And I know there's been some people in the weight room that have had some major challenges with huge numbers, and so appreciate you guys. And hopefully this is the only semester we're going to have to do stuff like that. Get rid of those hour-and-a-half breaks, and have more normal schedule. In regards to the hour-and-a-half breaks, Matt, there's been some discussion also at DCC about, do they really need an hour-and-a-half? And is that time going to go down? So if we still have to have gaps in the spring for some reason, I think there's going to be a strong push to make those gaps not an hour-and-a-half or an hour, or, some people have sat there and watched the cleaning crew or not watched any cleaning crew. And like some of the cleaning crews are in there for 5 minutes and then they got to stay out of there. So it's been really a high level of frustration from faculty in different departments. I said, Dante, you had a comment there.
Yeah, I just was wondering if anybody, only time I've ever seen anybody in the weight room has been in the evening. So I'm not sure if the breaks, if they're getting in there at all. But I was just, you kind of answered the question after I raised my hand on that.
Yeah, and I would say that I see more cleaning during my classes, because they'll ask if, hey, can we shut down the locker room so that we can go in there and clean? And I will say it's been cleaned well, like from just day to day, like what normally the bathrooms used to look like at the pool. So that's better than it has been, but there's nobody cleaning during the breaks. Like it's not, no one's coming in wiping down door handles and shit. Like that is not happening. So there is zero reason why we need to be having breaks, which is really frustrating.
Yeah, the changing mats in the locker room never get wiped down. We have to do that ourselves.
No, yeah, we do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's reclaim our time.
Yeah.
So Tara put in there that we need to push back on the gaps, and I would say yes, let's do that. You guys do that as faculty and do academic senate and stuff like that. I think that's great. My guess is, and this is strictly, you guys know as much communication on this as I have. My guess is that we put these gaps into place when we thought there was going to be social distancing and stuff like that. And then when that governor changed that, it was a little bit, I don't know if the right word is too late, but the decision was made not to make changes off of what we set in place. Kind of like we said, we're going to do these classes in person and these ones online. We're not going to flip-flop amongst within those, moving from a classroom in person online or from online to in person. There was decisions made that they did not want to change. So if I had to take my best guess, is there will be no gaps in the spring, there will be no social distancing in the spring, and there will be mandates for vaccines in the spring. So that's going to be my guess. But as a topic of conversation, yes, anytime that we could get in front of Academic Center or Jane or something, the gap thing is something that we should at least bring up. I don't know if we need to push on it, but we should bring it up. And I will tell you this, there's not enough crews to do what they were expecting to do. There's not enough safety monitors. There's nobody at Hale. There's nobody at Bailey. There's only one person in Towser half the day. So most people are just scanning in themselves. So there's not enough people there. And there's not enough custodians. We let go like freaking 50 custodians over the last couple of years. So there's not enough custodians to get into every room every hour and a half. So yeah, they're doing the best they can. And I think they had a good plan with some good ideals. But there's things change. So yeah, it's not perfect. I think we're back. We're doing okay. Do we need to make sure that we move forward and push back a little bit? Yes. Do I think it's coming? Yes. But no one started down the road trying not to do a good job when it comes to the cleaning and the gaps and things like that.
Thanks, Matt. I just want to remind everybody, there's a listening session for the Senate today, Academic Senate at noon. I'll put the link in the chat, but if you can go and just voice any issues, concerns you have, that'd be great. Thanks.
There's also a listening session for AFA on Monday.
Yeah.
Great. That link I know gets sent out to DL staff, but if you wouldn't mind sending that to me along with the one for Academic Senate, I can put those in the email that has our link to our recording and meeting agenda. Might be easier for people to find and remember. Okay, any other questions for me or the chair's report so far? Okay, then let's move on to our committee reports. We've got a few. One of them that I didn't, we've got a few committees and we'll try to get through as many of them as we can, but the reports might be short also. So our first committee are equity, diversity, and
Inclusion, anti-racism.
I was calling it different acronyms. So many acronyms going on in my head, I'm losing it. So Tara, would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So we met, I think it was last week. Everything's so blurry right now. And we are going to pursue, last semester we had the LGBTQ workshop, and we sort of, as we ended it, we weren't quite finished yet. So we're going to look into doing a part 2 of that. And another idea that came forward is having a student panel and getting, so within our EDI committee, we're going to try to get representatives from different areas of the department, athletes, fitness certificate, yoga certificate, maybe K-Fit, class members, some students from dance, and, just kind of come in and ask them and have an open dialogue about how well we're doing in our various classes and programs in addressing the needs of diverse students and, fostering an environment of inclusion. And bringing that and then talking to them and then bringing that to this department meeting and having that open dialogue in a student panel. And then if we really wanted to get, a broad perspective of voices. So we're going to also create sort of a Google form survey that we can send out to students in our classes and in our programs and in the different athletes, and just get some open feedback about how we're doing and what we can do better and what we're doing well. So that's our main project to work on. And if anyone has anything else to add that I missed, please jump in.
No, I just being on this committee, I just want to stress what I think the value of these types of exercises. You just look at this room right here, and it's a pretty white room, and our students aren't. And so if we're really, go tie this into everything, curriculum, student learning outcome assessments. You know, how it's really hard for us to have perspective. At least it is for me. I can only speak for myself, but it's hard for me to have perspective. And when I hear the testimonials from people like we've started to hear last year, those were the most powerful things I'd ever heard. I thought, you know, I had a totally different perspective of SRJC than some of the ones that I heard from people of color, or just all different kinds of people. You know, it just a great example that everybody's perspective is different. And it's so valuable to hear those other perspectives because it is changing, and it's impactful big time. At least it was for me. And so I'm looking forward to hearing some of our students and student athletes maybe come in to a department meeting and just have an open dialogue with us. I think it's powerful, and I think it's beneficial to all of us, for sure for me. Okay, any other comments or questions about EDI? Okay, could we get a academic senate update?
Yeah, I can do that. I think Monica's on the road. So like Tara Johnson said, we're having an open forum today at noon. And it's just because we have a lot of open forum comments, just an opportunity for people to talk to the Senate about issues coming up. So if you have something, I'd recommend going there. We've been working on our hiring policy, specifically making sure that we're addressing diversity. We're trying to put into the policy that we're looking to make SRJC faculty more diverse and also hire faculty that are knowledgeable about EDI concepts and being sensitive to the diverse needs of our students, and also being better colleagues as far as working with a diverse group of colleagues as well. So that's all kind of, we're working on the language of that hiring policy to make sure that that's really a huge part of what we're doing here at SRJC. There's been a lot of open forum comments lately about the vaccine and Dr. Chong sort of having the mandate, walking back on it. And it seems that we've had some student comments and faculty comments, and seems like the consensus so far is that they want to require vaccines for everyone that's medically eligible. And we should be hearing some more information about that at the board meeting on Tuesday. And you see the notes that we send, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time.
Thank you, Tara. And how about AFA?
Yeah,
Sandra
I have.
Or Stanley? Thank you.
I will. Yes. Thanks, Lenny, of course. Yeah, two things from your faculty union. One is on the vaccination mandate. So there's been an overwhelming majority of faculty reporting at various venues, either, you know, attending AFA meetings, emailing. We had a listening session already once, and another one's coming up, as I put in the chat on Monday. The overwhelming majority of faculty report or support a hard mandate starting in the spring. And there's even a number of faculty supporting, like, instituting a hard mandate this semester. Numerous community colleges in the state of California have already done that, and they have deadlines, you know, in September and October. And I think that second part of it, starting it in the fall right now, sometime this fall, as opposed to the spring, the reasoning behind that, what I've heard from faculty reporting is that a lot of faculty do not feel safe. The faculty that are in person, many of them have reported what they were told was going to happen by the district in terms of safety protocols has not happened. And to the point of some faculty are refusing to teach now and wanting to pull online and being told no, or it's getting canceled, or saying I'm in person this semester, but I'm not going to come back in the spring, no matter what, because I don't trust the district in those safety protocols. So there's a lot of emotion and long, strong feelings around this. AFA, you know, safety is a mandatory subject to bargaining, obviously. So safety is a priority for AFA to support the faculty and what their needs are. So like I said, we have the listening session on Monday, and then Tuesday is the Board of Trustees meeting. I'm sure it's going to be packed. I'm sure it's going to be boisterous. If you want to attend, please do. It's at 4 o'clock. And if you can't attend, or if you can attend, maybe you can want to speak. I think it'd be great to hear from some of our CAD members, especially the coaches. But if you can't do that, you could attend. And if you can't do that, you can write the Board of Trustees. You saw the one, I don't know who got what, I don't know who gets what emails, but the whole biological sciences department, 30 faculty sent a huge email to the Board of Trustees and copied some folks about this is why it should be mandatory. So want to let you know that AFA supports faculty in being safe, and that's where that is. And then the second thing is AFA is in the very preliminary stages of forming a racial diversity and equity committee. We just brought it up 2 days ago, Wednesday at our meeting. We have our retreat tomorrow all day, and that's the main topic of conversation, kind of formulating, what is the charge of the committee, what is the makeup, etc. So we're looking forward to that and to improving diversity, inclusion, and equity, and of course, only within AFA's purview. So those are my 2 things. Thank you, Lenny.
Thank you, Stanley. The other committees that we have right now that we've talked about a couple of them already. We talked about our enrollment management committee, and we've talked a little bit about our staffing committee. I just want to also throw it out there to you guys that those committees are always open for new people to get on board too. If you're really interested in doing something or being on a certain committee, just let us know. I know we have rotations and there's certain things like that, but the bottom line is there are committees in a lot of cases within our department that if you would like to be on, we'd encourage you to be on those. Do we have anything else to report you guys in terms of CAD committees or just anything? We've got a little extra time here at the end of our agenda, so if you have any items, I've been asking for agenda items and potential guests, so please, if you think of something, let me know. We'll put it on there. So yes, Dante.
And I just want to say how much I appreciate the APE department and the acceptance of other people in their environment. I've been working with them and with my K-Fit classes, and I just appreciate the flexibility and what they're doing. So I just want to throw that shout out to them, just because it is everybody's working together and making it work with smiles, and there's no it's a comfortable environment to step into. So I just appreciate them being able to do that.
Right back at you, Dante. We've heard nothing but good reports from you and your class. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know that we can do that if we absolutely have to do it. Hopefully we'll never have to again. Cassandra, is your hand up?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I just wanted to let the CAD team know that Matt and I have met with Jane and the rest of the arts faculty on campus regarding the district allowing us to return to performing. And they have approved our dance performance for the dance company, which had an overwhelmingly positive attendance for auditions last Friday. And they approved a performance in December for us, our studio theater performance. And we are all returning back to the theater in the spring with live performances. And so we finally get to use that big, beautiful theater that we have yet to see a performance in. And we're really excited and still discussing all of the masking and vaccine requirements for students. I'm encouraging my dancers to be vaccinated, and the majority of them are, but because we're touching each other and we're in a space together, it just makes sense. And as far as performances go, it looks like our dancers will not have to wear masks on stage, thank goodness, in the spring when we're performing, if they are all vaccinated. So some good news on the performance front, which equals fundraising for our program, which we haven't been able to do in almost 2 years.
Thanks, Cassandra. And we're excited to get people back on campus. I mean, what a difference it's going to be to have people back with all these new facilities. So exciting times for sure. And Any other comments, you guys, before we sign off? I would just like to say welcome again to our new faculty members, and hopefully you didn't, as a result of this meeting, say, what did I do? But we're happy you're here, and we're here to help too. So please reach out if you need to. No other comments, you guys, then we'll go ahead and end the meeting a little early and give everybody some coffee time on a Friday morning. Oh, look at that, Josh. I love it.
Yeah, I would have had my camera on, but this would have been a big distraction, I think.
Yeah. Her hair, it looks like you have a beard.
This is my little baby. She got hair for days. Say hi.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, everybody, have a great weekend. All of you that are competing this weekend, kick some ass. We're going to lovely Fresno, California to see the sights and sit by the pool. Anyway, best to all of you guys, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Lenny. Great meeting. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Lenny.